Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to No More Heroes. So we're paused here at just outside of the room, and obviously I've taken yet another break in between each of these two-hour long episodes. So right now we have subtitles on. And I'm going to experiment with this by going over to the data, loading back to the point where we saved at the end of the last recording, which would be here, right? Yeah, because the rank is going down towards rank 1 and the time is going up as far as play time. So this should put us just at this load screen, this is just your default load screen now when you're loading, although I imagine you still might have a chance that you would see the motel default load screen if you just launched the game directly, because it wouldn't really know which load file to load, although it would be pretty easy to just load in the most recent load file. So we did all of that just to lower the total playtime, even though the total playtime is already probably 8 hours off. When we look at the config, subtitles are off again. Yeah. So obviously there's some bad programming there. And I guess that's just something I'll have to keep in mind. Does that really matter that much? Not really. Let's run to the next fight. We're playing this on the higher difficulty setting of the two that were available to us. This flag, I guess, is supposed to be an indicator of the center of the map. We also know there's one more t-shirt somewhere in this game, and so now it would become the nightmare scenario to try and find that one t-shirt. Yeah, this flag, I don't know if you can actually reach it though. And it's not directly on the motel. It's just here in the middle. And there's nothing really connected to it. You would think there might be an achievement there, but it really is just some trash bins. So even as a marker, we do have to kind of evaluate how useful as a landmark it might be. We can see it here, obviously, when we're near, but once we start to get to the very far angles and distances, I wouldn't be surprised if it just despawns and you can't actually see it. Let's turn around. I can still see the flag through the trees from this point. Accidentally running over a person while I'm looking for trash bins. We're going to the beach, and honestly I wouldn't be surprised if this fight actually does not involve any minions at all, or only involves a very small number of minions. It's weird you can't knock down the fences when you can knock down like stop signs and trees. In reality, a tree and a stop sign is probably more likely to stand being collided with a motorcycle than a fence would. We're going to the beach, and if I recall correctly, the beach is a fairly difficult place. We can still see the flag from this point. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the flag is always in view, even as other things go lower resolution. The beach here has been blocked off for this instance so that there's only one way to get down to the beach. There's a lot of texture popping in this game, but actual 3D models popping in, it actually does a pretty good job of having the buildings be there, even if it is at a low resolution. So yeah, I don't think I can see the flag at this point just because I'm not high enough, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is still loaded in. Although, if it is supposed to be a beacon that you can see from any direction, then it's obviously not high enough. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if you could potentially get an angle to see it. Yeah. Right there. The trees are popping in and out, but the flag is always loaded. What's funny is you're getting pop-in based on just specific angles in particular, which that's weird. So yeah, from the destroy stadium to the flag to the beach, you can see quite a lot. Does that really mean anything for the game? No, it's just kind of a nice little feather in the hat of there. Yeah, I don't even really remember this character. I did say it was weird that there weren't any bikini girls on the beach generally in the overworld.
Your next opponent is here on this beach.
Ah, just up ahead. So I'm supposed to fight on the beach.
That is one of the conditions. Why? That's for you to figure out. Feels good. What other hidden talents do you have, Travis?
So obviously this is supposed to be a lewd scene, and
go any higher and I will kill you myself. Not until you become number 1. We have a deal, remember? So hurry up and go get him.
Yes, Your Highness.
So we get the French lady in a bikini. What's interesting here is that this is obviously an in-engine cutscene because your outfit changes with those cutscenes. Those could have been easily pre-rendered cutscene, and then you wouldn't have had the character customization, or it would have just been something that was easily overlooked. This is a game that's old enough that they really didn't even have the beginnings of an idea of having different types of layers in pre-rendered cutscenes in such a way that you could render a different hairstyle or a different t-shirt or a different outfit on top of a green screened pre-rendered cutscene and try and mix them together. And in general, you would still just call that an in-engine cutscene. Alright, so we've got some military people. This one is prompting me to do a sumo, American wrestling move. These guys are shooting me.
Cranberry chocolate sundae.
The problem here is there's people back this way, I guess. That's funny, the money didn't come all the way up. So people are hidden in the sand. I feel like there's probably more of a trick here than even that. Like there might be landmines. I really am at a point here where I would prefer to just avoid taking damage, so I am going to rely on the wrestling moves as much as possible, even if that is going to lower. Interesting. Money. Where is he? So, like one hit. One hit kills in that mode. You get some weirdness here, certainly, in that you would think the military people would not be carrying axes. It all does just kind of have a feel like they are, that they are really just gangs more than anything else.
Hey, he's over here.
You need to get one hit through. There, I just missed in mine. I could have killed a lot more people if I had seen them. Which I think this probably highlights the problem around having even slightly more open areas and potentially having characters spawn in. We also have a lot of just lighting issues that just visually don't look good, and I can't help but think that that wasn't a problem in the Wii version of this game. In a lot of ways, there was a whole generation of games that started to get ported to other consoles, and they didn't put a lot of effort into them, particularly when you're thinking about like a Japanese company that would have made a Wii game, bringing it to the Microsoft 360, which, yeah, Japanese game developers don't really care about the Xbox series of consoles because they don't really sell in Japan even now in 2020-23, although they are becoming more willing to have releases on both PlayStation and Xboxes, and that has become more of the standard way of things going. I don't know how I killed that guy in one hit. Where is he? But yeah, it is still very much a secondary thought. Your best version of a game from a Japanese developer is almost certainly not going to be on the Xbox, although there is a very high chance of getting a good port on the Xbox these days. And they certainly are having a changing attitude because Microsoft is selling itself more as a PC-like console, and programming for the Xbox is not very different. The Xbox One or the Xbox Series S or Series X in particular, it's not very much different from just making a PC version, PC port, and PC gaming is potentially growing in Japan because PlayStation is not really selling. There's been massive shortages for the PlayStation 5, which has led most gamers in Japan to only really own Nintendo Switches and cell phones. Obviously, cell phone is also eating away at console games. These targets really should just have been destroyed in one hit. It doesn't really benefit you any to have to smash it over and over again. Yep. The A button while you're in fight mode does not strike the ground. We're getting massive amounts of gold here. And I'd assume that these signs are indicators of where mines are. So you probably do not want to stand directly on the mines. Yeah, that took 2 or 3 attempts there. Noticeably, hitting the these enemies just don't run around enough for them to accidentally walk on a mine. And yeah, it definitely sucks that you can't be for certain whether you're getting all of the trading cards. But if that was number 24, there should be one more trading card. Yep, that's just like a great example of their being really bad lighting. I don't know if you're really taking damage when you walk on those. If anything, it's just making it so that you can't go back. And this is kind of the comedy that it would maybe be better if the story was just a serious experience.
And your new home will be in the flaming tombs of hell. Everything okay? How's that sharp pain in your neck? Bladder in a bind? Have you trimmed your nose hairs? When you're ready, step inside. You know, you've been quite cocky lately. Well, more than the usual dose of self-assuredness. You think that being ranked 7th means you're hot shit, don't you? And you're just raring to go. You've gone from dumb to dumber. Watching your meteoric rise of stupidity is truly painful to observe. That careless attitude of yours will be your undoing. And with that, I am 500% certain you will die this time. But trust your force and head for the Garden of Madness.
Every time she talks to you, the percentage of her certainty of you dying goes up. Yeah. I suppose the idea is that this is giving you and your fingers a rest before you take on the final boss, which is going to be an exhausting experience, obviously. We'll get another wrestling move. I can't help but feel like I somehow missed a treasure chest, though. Travis, this is just common sense in Calgary, the king of suplexes. Remember now, Satan's Ferris wheel, the belly, MS. M may stand for master something. Master Sensei would make some sense. Yep, there is one more card to be found.
Yes.
There we go. Found it, so I should have found all 5 of them. And in this point, we can now use these toilets. Yeah, I just don't know if it wouldn't be better for the story if it was more serious. It is worth pointing out, since we are comparing this to the previous Suda51 game that anybody would have played, Killer 7, that there is a lot more realisticness in this game. Whereas Killer 7 is just like pure insanity. You also have a different level of kind of adult content in this game. Unlike Killer 7, you don't have a person in a wheelchair being abused both physically and sexually. You don't have a character that is this weird split personality for no reason in Samantha. You don't have most of the characters you play as being victims of like terrible things having happened to them. You don't have a plot where you're sexually trafficking and organ harvesting orphans, which is part of what is in Killer 7. As crazy as it may sound, No More Heroes definitely tones it down in a lot of aspects, just verbally and mentally, in favor of toning it up with violence and violence only. And there was a pretty large amount of violence in Killer 7 too, but it wasn't able to be depicted as well. The polygon count in this game is at least one generation, if not 2 or 3, better than Killer 7. They also lean, I think, more into this game of having unique characters that stand out for bosses, and having one real romantic interest only in the French lady. If anything, I would say this game is actually kind of nice in that it's fairly balanced in male and female enemies. By default, if this was a Western game, this would have been all male enemies.
Do you like killing?
Live for it.
Do you like fear?
Can't say. Never felt it.
Do you accept death?
Death? Never crossed my mind.
Death is the only truth. You are still a mere bud.
That's not a good thing, you know. Seeking meaning in everything. Especially killing. That's a bad habit among smart little girls these days.
Come closer and you will understand everything.
This character
I'm ready. Anywhere,
feels like
anytime.
this
Just
might have been a
your
prototype
ordinary assassin.
for the character Quiet in Metal Gear
Are you in
Solid
the mood
5.
yet? Normal
visually.
assassins don't shoot the shit like this. They see their target and kill them.
Alright, checkpoint. Are we gonna hit a mine? Alright. Oops.
Let's see you get out of this predicament.
No prob. You'll see.
A bud that will never blossom. A sad truth. Good night, my sweet seventh.
So that may just be an instant kill.
Oh, crap!
So yeah, she has her leg missing, and we cut off the arm of another character. So obviously
Nice
these
trap.
assassins can
I
be
like your style. Maybe I can steal a kiss before I steal your life.
severely injured
See
and
about
still fight.
Goodbye.
Right. Right. So we're looking for avoiding traps.
Goodbye.
You can fall in the same hole more than once, which is weird. She's just sitting on the shovel. You can only go so far in the water. So her weapon is a shovel, which at a certain level, I guess they are struggling to think of unique weapons for these enemies and unique attack styles. So it would be hard, certainly. I think they could do it. I think Suda51 and Grasshopper Manufacturer in general is like just creative enough to I do think they're creative enough to potentially create 20 enemies. Obviously, since there are 3 games in this series, they at some point did have to create 3 enemies.
Goodbye.
It seems like the grenades go off. Right. So that dodge is that time I had to go left and right instead of pressing A. I think I probably can't knock her into a hole. So, like, she just walked right over that hole like it was nothing. Wrestling move. That was a different wrestling move. Wrestling move. Yeah, it seems like whatever is the most recent wrestling move you have is the one you're going to do.
Enough with the flirting.
I don't know what I'm supposed to have done there. Seems like that is a move that requires you to just run, which there does seem to be more of that. It also does seem like it seems like I might win on the first try here, which this would be the first of the enemies that I might actually win on the first try. Is that because I'm doing better dodging, or is it just a case of maybe getting lucky or upgrades? I would have to avoid taking some damage though, and avoid falling in holes. Yeah, if she's just gonna keep doing the same attacks though, I don't know how to stagger. Yeah, I don't know how to break that move if she's just going to be locked in doing the same attacks. You can uncover nearby pit traps by swinging your katana beam. Interesting, helpful, somewhat helpful information. Right. Like when she throws a knife, I can definitely do something there. Let's go ahead and skip that attack, that cutscene. Now I have to move the right stick back and forth. Some of these moves and maneuvers shouldn't really be an option in the middle of the heat of battle. Seems like maybe X will do damage when she's in that mode. Yeah, you can get some hits in, but it's not enough hits to justify taking all the damage. Grab some extra health refills. I guess maybe the idea could be to get... Well, I didn't realize if you're right in front of the dust, you'll cough. Yeah, it was asking too much to assume that you would actually succeed on the first try. And I don't think it really is worth it to get the extra battery. Because I'm just not... Maybe a charged attack would make some sense here, but I doubt it. Let's see. Would there ever really be a time where I could have had a charged attack? In the weapons clash, I just think she's stronger than me, so I don't think I can win those. So, like, run here, and then come back and try and get her. And again, this is just not going to work. You don't take any damage for just falling in. So you can kind of use that. Where is she? Yeah, I have like 2 more hits and almost certainly she would hit me.
I am disappointed. I thought you were strong.
Yeah. Really had no chance there. Even if Holly fills up a pit trap, it will remain slightly different color. That's slightly helpful information, but not really.
Still just a fight.
Like, what it really needs is a you need a way to dodge those weapons. Or perhaps trigger the weapons clash more often. Because I'm getting hit by it as they're launching and as they're landing. And that really just has eliminated my health to a point where I might as well just give up here. Just let it happen and start over. This is where you get into the catch-22 of video games, where you want challenge, certainly, but you really, in modern times, gamers don't want that much challenge. Like, you really don't want to have a struggle, particularly in a boss fight, take away from the cinematic experience that you would kind of want to have. Because this would be a cool cinematic experience, certainly, if you could really play the game in such a way that it didn't show you the failure screen multiple times before you see a success screen. And I'm struggling to try and figure out if X or Y or A or B is the right move. It is twice as difficult to tap the A button, by the way, than it is to toggle the left or right stick. I hope I didn't pick up the health too early there. See, that was the X button. And it doesn't seem like she's really hurting herself with the mines. may have had a wrestling move option there. That was a great example where I hit X, Y, A, and B, and none of it worked. Which arguably, maybe I should get some form of assistance that would go into like the tiger mode for a very brief amount of time. I don't think that would make these games better if we did have more of the crazier modes, but it would be better certainly if the game just decided to go easy on me instead of just leaning more into like comedically kicking my butt. And I have no ranged attacks, unlike everybody else, so you are just at this distinct disadvantage always. But I really am just getting like halfway through their life. Like, I don't know if maybe I'm supposed to try and swing when she's swinging and get a clash, or if I'm supposed to dodge when she swings. I think I probably am supposed to dodge when she swings. The more she potentially stands in one spot and isn't doing that one attack, the better. But yeah, if she gets locked into just doing that one attack over and over again. Keep moving around to avoid Holly's missile attack. She is exposed after she fires, giving you a chance to strike back. This is the first time it feels like they're giving me multiple hints too. Up until this point I've been just given the same hints over and over again. But obviously there is a problem. Like, you don't, I guess, want the weapon clashes because you can take damage there. There obviously is a problem with the game just being too difficult for me. I've arguably have gotten to being a worse player, not a better player, over the years. I'm less likely to stick with games because there's just a huge Steam library backlog that I have and most PC gamers have, so I can always move to a different game, and there's maybe I have slightly more time now to play video games, or even a lot more time to play video games personally as a YouTuber, but I have considerably less patience with games that are going to make me repeat myself. And in general, repeating myself is not something I want to do, whether it is in the actions of a video game or whether it's just saying something to somebody over and over again. Like, I definitely recall when I was in like high school, I could have the same conversations with 5 to 10 people and say the exact same thing over and over again, and it would be new to each of those persons, whereas now that would be really annoying to say the same thing. Unfortunately, as a video game critic, that is what I do very often regardless, because there's only so many ways you can say this game is too difficult, this difficulty setting really shouldn't have been available except for in a New Game Plus mode. What would be really annoying, I guess, is if it turned out there wasn't a higher difficulty setting on this game, and there is only sweet and mild. Particularly if there was like a New Game Plus mode that comes out, but there's no increased challenge around that New Game Plus mode. Because obviously there is probably a few people that would have breezed through this higher difficulty. We're still very much getting into these clashes where every button I'm pressing is not working. Yeah, so it does kind of seem like maybe the only thing I can do is try and dash to the side. Noticeably, I'm not getting a lot of slow time effect dashes, so my timing on this is terrible. I've been really bad about getting the timing correct in this game as far as the baseball minigame and other sections. And that is almost certainly hurting me quite a bit. And that might be because I'm playing on a higher difficulty, that the actual window for hitting the delayed attacks are really tight. I almost got a wrestling move there. We might be able to win here. Of course, we might not. It's really just going to come down to, can we hit the enemy? There we go. We got a slow attack there. First time. Wrestling move prompt. Didn't pull it off.
I am disappointed. I thought you were strong.
I don't know if maybe she's bumping me into it. Yeah. I might be screwed here. Yeah. I was pressing the left trigger to lock on, and apparently that moves you back a few pixels. Enough that I was just falling down the hole multiple times. That wasn't fair. Come on, let me win. There we go. So we knock her down, but not into a hole, and then it fades out.
What is this?
It almost feels like Travis Touchdown is
This
not
is
willing
not
to
mercy.
kill
You
women.
can't kill a woman. Pathetic. If you can't kill a woman, you are less than a thug. You will never make it to the top. That's okay. I seem to have a thing for stupid, pathetic men like you. I can accept defeat if it comes from your hand. I will let you in on a secret. Assassins must die when they lose. Open your eyes and never look back. Promise, never forget me.
Huh?
Thank you. The moment you hesitated, I felt your embrace.
Hold up!
Academics like to fantasize too, you know.
Wait! Number 6! No!
So, yeah, that's bloody and gory.
Forgive me, number 6. I never meant to shame you.
And of course, that would kind of make more sense Japanese-wise.
Travis, but a win is a win. That's all that matters. I hate to award you this, but you are now 6th in rank.
What was her name?
That is not important anymore.
You're right. But I owe her at least that.
Holly Summers, born in...
No. Just her name.
It's a funny name for what looks like a Japanese lady, but this is a weird world, certainly. In which there is definitely a Japanese influence that is higher than you would expect. So ranking award gives us 170,000. Clear time of 44 minutes gave a rank of B. So we are getting better. We're not doing well. We killed 45 enemies, which gives us another 4,500 LBs. Damage taken is actually going down at 180, although we still are taking a ridiculous amount of damage, dying over and over again. And max chain gives us 11. I can't help but think that almost all of this is going up simply because the game is getting easier because I'm upgrading my stats, and that this is much more of an RPG game than you would actually think it is. We have 222,000 to start with. We're going to probably need somewhere around 350,000 otherwise. Alright. And we're just carrying her to the ocean, I guess, symbolically. Or are we doing something else? So you can't go into like ogle mode at this point, or first person camera mode, so we can't look at the French lady in the bikini. We have one of the two German guys here, but the other German guy does seem like she is missing. We can't pick up everything. We've obtained the U.S. military secret. Please give it to Dr. Naomi. Dr. Naomi is the person who is building the laser swords for us. And so they've dug a hole, and we're just going to bury her in the hole at the beach.
Forgive me, Holly. I was late in saying this, but I love your soul. Rest in peace.
It's very weird, very Japanese feeling to say that. That they found kinship on the battlefield, two warriors. Very samurai-esque, while not being visually samurai-esque at all. It is actually kind of shocking that there isn't a kimono-wearing samurai enemy in this game, as far as I recall. The closest you have is Shinobi, who, even in that, that's still more of a Japanese schoolgirl in a more American style school outfit with just a samurai sword. So not really even a Japanese schoolgirl, I guess, at that point. Just a American schoolgirl in a private academy type outfit. The good news is this is taking less time each time. So you really do get into this rush later on in the back half of the game, which I think probably helps the game quite a bit by making you forget the grind at the beginning of the game.
Hey, this is Diane.
Maybe if you didn't get all the collectibles at the beginning, it would be less grindy.
Coffee and milk. Please return it ASAP. Have a nice day.
Mr. Touchdown, please wire the money as soon as possible. Please hurry, or something unfortunate may happen.
Now they're just threatening
In
you.
addition, the registration for the 6th UAA rank is complete. We look forward to hearing from you.
So, yeah, 350,000 is what they want. Our room is getting slightly more decorated. The jokes of different porns that you're ordering and as far as videos is continuing each time. Let's just change everything up here in our outfit. Why not? Let's see. We'll switch over to the next anime girl. Did we get everything above 60 is the question. Or are we still missing one? I think we're still missing one. Yeah, we're missing 96. Still haven't bought another jean or bought another belt. Yeah, that does look cool, but doesn't really change the game much. Doesn't look like there's anything different here. The painting over the bed may be new. I doubt that there's going to be anything new to see on the map. And I suspect there's probably not anything new to see until we actually do some of these assassination gigs or free fight missions or things like that. Right. So as far as TV, there's nothing to look at. As far as fridge, there's nothing to do. We could play with the cat, but let's just skip it. We can double check to make sure we got all the new cards, and we did, which there's still like 5 more people to fight and 25 more cards, 5 for each fight. The masks are taking up more and more of the ceiling in the background, but otherwise it does just kind of seem like the game is mostly done. New part-time job. Right. Yeah. Running around here with your dash ability is not a problem. That's a short run. Then it's a slightly longer run
Travis, how's
to
business?
the hub. I got it through a Swedish route, man. That's some good stuff in Scandinavia. It's the kingdom of bootlegs. Take your pick. Right, so Mask Death the Panther, Master of the Fourth Dimension. So we'll get another wrestling move.
Now don't get yourself killed.
Now what's weird about this is unless your total wrestling moves get stronger with the more you unlock, it is very possible that you could skip a lot of wrestling moves early in the game and instead choose to only buy the last one to unlock, or the latest ones to unlock.
Hey, don't lay a single finger on anything.
Where the hell did you get this? I swear you can get your hands on almost anything these days. Scares me to think a thing like this is out in the world. Okay, let's see what I can do with it. I'll give it a shot. We handed her the US military secret, and that should allow me to buy something, but apparently not.
You otaku.
She has like a thong that's pulled up really high, and you can see it when she spins around in the chair. I'm gonna walk back in and see if something changed now.
Ah, it's you again.
My job's sick of it hanging it up for today. Why force it when you've got nothing left, you know? Interestingly, nothing new to buy here, so we delivered it.
Otaku.
She says the exact same thing every time you leave, and they have that line voiced, which is odd because there really isn't a voiced line when you leave the video rental place. There looks like there is yet another potential new open challenge area. That being said, I feel like you probably are better off if you wait until you get the new weapon, which is obviously on the horizon, or you wait at least to get your stats up at the gym. Cash. Darn it. I was hoping that that would be number 96. I would suspect 96 is somewhere around this area. A bigger and more north location. You'd think that there might be a fight or even like a climbing platform puzzle in this shipping container yard. We still don't have anything new to do with the bar. And I just don't think we are going to do anything more with the Levikov balls in the bar at all in the game. Right, so let's upgrade our strength and vitality some more.
Yeah, that.
There's voice acting when you come into this one, and I guess maybe there's some voice acting when you leave. Extend your beam katana combo attacks. Seems like that can't be done ever again, and yet increasing strength is increasing in cost and being able to be done multiple times. If anything, it really just highlights, I think, that the menu system here, arguably not that thought out, and it would probably make more sense if you just got in this room and selected the one thing and was able to use that one thing without having to spend money at all. I'm gonna focus here on pressing the A button and pressing it as fast as possible. It's very possible that pressing it faster in this case doesn't really even do anything, and you are really only needing to press it at a fairly reasonable pattern, 2 times a second compared to 3 or 4 times a second. There really isn't that big of a range. Like, some of the fastest button mashers out there can really only hit a button 7 times a second. And there is definitely a good argument to not have button mashing mini games, because even though turbos are not used very often these days, it's still very doable that you could have a turbo feature. here in 2023, a lot of gameplay talks, a lot of game designers think and talk about accessibility, and certainly it is not accessible to have people mash the A button over and over again. A lot of people can't do that, even people with just minor problems. I have arthritis in my hands, for instance, and it hurts. It's not a fun experience to mash the A button. And mashing the A button super fast in fights doesn't do anything for you, so it's not like you're learning something new or doing something advantageous or educational. Thought maybe I could squeeze through there. I wouldn't be surprised if there is actually number 96 is somewhere here. Walk outside of the grass so that I can get a running head start through all of this. Yep. Now you can't run, so it would make a lot more sense to have brought the motorcycle in this area. I'm just looking around to see if they got really cute and put a dumpster in this area. Which this area, I don't think really leads to much of anything. It probably leads to a boss fight, but it definitely also feels like it is more of a justification of having a giant open area with nothing in it. Like, perhaps there was some metric that Grasshopper manufacturer promised to the publisher or promised to themselves to have a certain amount of square footage in their game, and they filled a lot of the empty space with this. Visually, this is awful. You've got horrific pop-in. You've got very repetitive, ugly brown textures. We are definitely in a weird position, though, where in 2023 you can't really recommend people play No More Heroes on the Wii. Like, sure, I guess if you had a Wii and it was still in working order, and I think you could probably play a Wii game without any kind of internet connection or internet online service updating anything. So you could probably put the disc in and play it on a Wii, and you probably would have a somewhat decent experience if you did that. I don't think that that's something I'd really recommend, and I think No More Heroes is on the Switch, and the Switch is being such a underpowered device, I imagine you would have a fine experience playing such an old game on the Switch. So that might be your best bet. Play it on the Switch. Don't play it on the Switch Lite, and hope that when they made a Switch port, it was done better than the PC port was. I guess that's probably the best recommendation you could make. It would also at least have a higher chance of having the Wii-like Joy-Con controls. You have a sign here that just says gym. But it's not actually near the gym. You'd think these signs would mean more. I imagine, assuming No More Heroes is on the Switch, which I assume it is, I would imagine you can only get No More Heroes 1 by some digital download, and that they don't have a disc version. In general, I don't recommend that, particularly for kids' consoles. I think it is much better to have the cartridge or the disc, whatever it is, and be able to trade it with friends, or otherwise trade in and sell things, sell the discs for a different game. Right, well, I guess we'll check out this area here, since this is a section that I'm unlikely to visit very often. 96 does imply to me that the t-shirt would be in a distant location. But I'm not seeing any trash cans, and almost certainly you would think there would be a Lovikov ball, and maybe there was here, but you'd think there would be trash cans too. Alright, well, let's follow the road this direction and see where that lands us. I think this just lands us with the US-Mexico border. There aren't that many cities that are directly on the border with US and Mexico in real life, so you would kind of have to assume that Send to Destroy is really just El Paso or one other like smaller city. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you do end up going through that gate for a boss fight and end up in Mexico, but they've done a pretty great job here of not falling into very generic stereotypes. Like, I wouldn't really blame a Japanese creator like Suda51 to just have a like poncho wearing bandito character that you would fight, or just a samurai cliche character, but then they clearly are trying to avoid something that is not iconic and not fall into just doing cliches, mixing things around a little bit.
Whoa.
There we go, 96.
Yeah.
With that, I believe we have all of the t-shirts, and so I don't think there is any reason to really run around and look for any more trash cans. Getting an extra 10 or 20,000 LBs would be helpful, certainly, but that's kind of all you would get. Unless, of course, there is a 100 out there. If there's a 100...
Whoa.
59, interesting, missed one.
Whoa.
60, interesting. Well, maybe there's lower numbers than 60. I was not expecting that. This is the Destroy Stadium that we're at now. Yep. Well, that certainly opens up the door to there being, I guess, more t-shirts on the lower end, which I guess that opens up the door to continuing to run around and look for them. Although I'm not really motivated in that direction. I would probably want to do that after I'd beaten the whole game, and at that point I'd probably have lost enough interest in doing it in total that I would just give up. And I just don't want to do any of these free roam missions at the moment. The job center sign is falling down.
Why you come here, Rydo man?
Let's go and just skip all this dialogue because we really don't care about any of that. He is definitely a character that I don't think is particularly that interesting. Like, you have multiple shopkeepers in this game, and ideally you could probably have merged at least a couple of them together. The K Entertainment and the Job Center could have all been one, and you would have had to, you could have still had you do part-time jobs, and then he would slide you the assassination gigs under the table from the part-time job center. The movie store clerk and fashion character could have all been one character too. There are military mines buried in the sand after all. The army used the beach for testing out new maneuvers. You won't see any girls in bikinis, and you'll need a metal detector to avoid getting a serious sunburn. What else would you expect from this place anyway? No tourists, no sunbathers, no logic. The god of landmine hates metal detectors, so work persistently. Right? Okay. So are these randomly placed, or is there something more to this? And very much like the treasure, it seems like you have to get it perfect. One. Okay. That took forever. I'm right over it. It doesn't seem like walking on the mines works. Okay, well, walking on the mines does blow you up. So it might be faster just to walk over them. Like, almost certainly the problem here is it's just like the left stick is too sensitive. This takes way too long. I guess if you needed the money, you would do this multiple times. Well, I think the general idea is I failed that, so now I have to do it all a second time to unlock the assassination missions, and you're just not going to be able to do anything until you unlock the assassination missions. I guess what you could do is probably you could probably just do a couple of these and then stop and just stand still if you really didn't want to do it, just like take a 2-minute break. But that would severely reduce the amount of reward you got. So I don't think you'd really want to do that. These definitely feel like they might be randomly placed, and that this is more of an experiment around that idea. Man, it's just so sensitive though, the controllers are. It's way too easy to accidentally blow yourself up turning around. And there's just nothing you can really say or do here. Just keep on playing. 30 more seconds. Feel like I might be running out of mines. Seriously? This is ridiculous. And I'm not getting rewards for this. At all. Alright, well, attempt number 3, and I might as well just show it on screen. Like, I could potentially pause the recording here. I could do something. I guess 2 knockdowns, and then we give up at that point, and we just stand still. Maybe you just should walk forward if you bypass it. Instead of turning left and right. This is just like another great example of a mini game that's not going to make you better at actually fighting, and is not really even going to train you towards anything else in the game, because the hidden treasures don't explode like the mines do. And I've already found all the hidden treasures in this open world, and I don't think this is going to introduce more hidden treasures. It might be interesting if there were more mines that were added to the overworld, instead of it being a part-time job. Alright, that's one more, and then I'm just gonna stand still and stop playing. I wonder what would have happened if you had not given the US military secrets to Naomi, and then you had instead just moved on to the next fight. If it always takes the next chapter in the open world instances to unlock the next weapon. So there might be a way, if you gave it to her on the very last chapter, you would never be able to get that extra weapon. It's too risky to really experiment around, though, to do that. I'm really getting nothing here. The difference between being careful and not being careful is about 5 mines. Let's just finish here. We got 9 mines. I'll take that as a victory, and I'd be shocked if this gives me gold, but maybe it will. You probably would have gotten gold if you had gotten 10. That does not give you a lot of LBs anyways. A third raider, I've got no job for you. Something a little shadier perhaps, but works all the same. I've sent the introduction ticket to my associate. The road to becoming the first raider is long and hard. Get your butt in gear. Same old phrases. If they're going to say the same phrase over and over again, it probably is better that that would be not vocalized and voiced. Right. But what I want to do here is just like really screw myself over by going to the shop and buying more costumes. Which, if I was going to go to the shop, I should have done it earlier, because it is closer. I think right now we're at 227,000. We go to Area 51.
Come on in, brother.
Yep. These shops could have been like online shops in a more modern time, certainly. Right. So t-shirts now are heading up to 35. And so I wonder if this is a case where each new level unlocks another 5 to 10 t-shirts. There you go. So the gap now is between 35 and 59 as far as t-shirts. You're getting fancier and fancier jeans. And fancier and fancier belts. No new sunglasses. Yes, a new jacket. Get all those jackets. There we go. So 2 jeans still need to be purchased, and 2 belts still need to be purchased to get everything that would be available now. And I can't help but assume that some more t-shirts will unlock in the next instance, but I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't that many new jeans or that many new belts. And that, once again, has just wiped out all of the money you would have. Which, okay. Does that really matter too much? Not really. You just now run to K Entertainment and do an assassination gig, and maybe I have to repeat 1 or 2 assassination gigs. This army supply store feels like it should have been something that played a role in that previous boss fight. Would kind of make sense that this would have been the starting point of that last boss fight here, and then you would have had to fight through the open world to the beach. That would have been a different experience, certainly. And then you could just have the association potentially block off parts of the street to make it more of a linear dungeon. Run, run, run. Nothing really you can do otherwise. It's ridiculous that fast travel hasn't unlocked at this point.
Welcome.
Now, this character visually is interesting, but they don't really give her a lot to say. So, it kind of would make more sense if you merged this character's visuals into being the shopkeeper of 2 or 3 shops, or just having one shop that does it all. So, yes, it does seem like there is not going to be a second page, but there is probably going to be 20 assassination gigs, because there's a second column. Potentially they could have just called them gigs instead of assassination gigs, and then you could have gotten a 3rd column. But I don't think that's the real problem. I think the real problem is that they just didn't put as much thought into it. In retrospect, any video game will always be better. You'll have better ideas, and as just an average gamer, you'll have better ideas almost certainly than what the final product was, because an individual gamer is not working under the constraints of collaborating with other workers or working under a specific time budget or otherwise resource budget, whether that's money or programmers or skilled labor. But yeah, I definitely feel like the role of the game director plays a very big role as far as making the right decisions and having the experience to know what the right decisions are as far as where resources should have been spent. In this case, the resources were spent on t-shirts and outfits, which there's too many t-shirts and outfits, particularly in this game, to think that that was done at an extra point. I don't know if I'm supposed to be body slamming these guys or what. Yeah, I think I'm just supposed to kill everybody here. I don't think there's anything more to it than that. And in that case, that guy was running away because he was shooting at me and trying to get shots. Well, got two of them. Yeah, there's a real problem though if you're going to have people shooting at you. And the other enemies are going to have to run up and make the difference, or you're not likely to succeed. Like, I can't really run up to take on the rest of these guys. I'm still really not winning these spinning attacks with the level of ease I would like to be winning them with. Three more people, but I have like 1 second left. So yeah, I don't know if there would have been a better reward if I killed everybody. I guess there was probably 20 people there. But you do run into a problem there where you can't just start the assassination mission a second time to do that. So it is going to force me to go back to K Entertainment and start another assassination gig. And since we're so short on resources, I probably am better off doing some other assassination gigs just to have some variety. But if I went back and tried to do like Pizza Butt 1, the very first assassination gig, and try to get gold on that, it wouldn't be that much easier. It'd be a little easier. Arguably, maybe K Entertainment is in the wrong place on the map. Considering most of the assassination gigs are more on the lower left side. It would make a lot of sense if it was on Avalanche Street, where the part-time job office is. Yep. These are different instances of the overworld, but the instances are almost exactly the same. And the environmental destruction in this game, I assume, resets every time you load the overworld. That you couldn't run around the entire place smashing every single street light, and that it would save that. There's another game that was a police procedural interrogation game. I forget the name of it. And it had an open world of LA, and it would have made a lot of sense to not have that open world, because you really just have to drive and by the book as a police officer. You can't run into things or the game penalizes you, and it actually scores you by how good of a driver you are for no reason. Yeah, if this building right here was K Entertainment, it would make so much more sense. You could even put the job center somewhere else, but it would also make fairly decent sense if the K Entertainment was right next to the job center and it was just the same person going from like one back door room to the other building, and then you could ideally put the ATM and the motel on this side, and then you would have one very nice street where most of the things you interact with are on that one street, instead of spreading everything out so much. Even if you just had the job center and K Entertainment next to each other and everything else in the same place, it would be fine. Right. Well, I don't know if I can get up from this. I may literally be... Alright, that did not work. So you have this guy being the target, and a ridiculous amount of laser people all around otherwise. You've got the exact same people saying the exact same thing over and over again. Yeah, almost certainly a charged attack is not the right move there. And this is not that mission, I don't think. Maybe it is.
3, 2, 1.
Feels like the X button might be the best move or best button to use here, but I don't really know if that is the right move. The problem here, certainly, is that these energy swords drain your other energy swords. Yeah, the energy swords drain the other energy swords, so you can't really just slash them and fight them with X, it seems. This is Pizza Butt the final, or finale. That is a pretty old joke, even when this game would have come out, to talk about Pizza Hut, which is not even a big pizza chain so much anymore. It still exists, but it's number 3 or 4 at most. Just gotta try and get a slash attack is my thought here, is to just get a slash attack that would take out enough of the enemies to let me get to the target who is behind. Yeah. I really don't know how you would pull this off. It seems like you need the dashes, if I was to guess. You need that slow down time dashes. It might also just be a case that the game is just too hard. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it really is the case that the game is just too hard. Got him. And see, that's about all I was thinking, is that you would just have to get lucky and get a slash combo kill. And even in that, I'm still only getting a silver, so I have no idea how you'd actually get a gold in that. This also creates a weird situation where I don't know if there's any mini game that I really would want to play. Like, I need to make money, obviously. We're at the job center. It would make a lot of sense to start another job. But
why you come here? Rydo man?
2,000 for each removed mine, silver. Gold, gold, gold. So really your only option is minesweeping.
But you won't never hang out on him.
And there's just absolutely nothing else you can do here. It's either take on assassination missions, which are all kind of crappy, or take on minesweeping missions, which is also kind of crappy. I could also try and do the open world missions, the free fight missions, but those also suck. Kind of feels like there should just be a casino or a fight club. Yeah, a fight club would make a lot of sense, where you could just put money down and fight a random enemy, a random minion with random stats.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Seriously? Just have to really tap it. Feels like they may have put more mines next to each other. When you get that A prompt, that pretty much tells you if you're a dev, I guess. That probably helps you quite a bit too. This is a mini game that would really not be fair to deaf people. We'll do one more blow up. The trick here you would definitely go with is you would have it say beep 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 over his head, or you would have it blinking a light in the background, like at the top of that minesweeper or metal detector. Yeah, and I guess what we're running into here is a great opportunity for me to just play off screen. Like, obviously I'm wasting resources by buying the outfits, but the game is letting me do that, so it's letting me make the game worse for myself, and really, game designers shouldn't allow a player to ruin their own experience so easily by just overspending, you know, on costumes. If they were going to do that, there probably needed to be more pop-ups and warnings to say these t-shirts don't do anything, they're purely aesthetic. Don't waste too much of your money on them. I just don't think I'm going to get another one. I did just get an achievement, so I must have gotten gold. That might be the last part-time job we even do. Was that a lot of money that I earned though? Brand new free flight mission can now be selected. Interesting. Well, let's go check that out. Well, actually, let's check the map. Yeah, that was not a lot of money. So if getting gold was the trigger to get a free fight mission unlocked via doing the part-time jobs, then maybe something else unlocks by doing the free fight? I don't think it really does, but it's possible. But if it's like any of the other free fight missions, it's gonna be, if you take one hit of damage, you're going to die and lose, so I'm not gonna really want to play that. And yeah, I don't know which one of these is the free fight mission that's new. Visually they look exactly the same. Just see what this one is. Kill until you take a single hit from the enemy. Yeah, this might be the old one.
3, 2, 1. I'm gonna kill you. What a pain.
Obviously, though, with a stronger amount of strength, it definitely seems like you can get into these fights and succeed in these clashes faster and easier. This is Free Fight Mission 1. If anything, this, I think, does probably prove that 12 chain, kill them all, took slightly longer. Gold for that. That does really prove, though, that you are going to eventually be upgraded enough that these free fight missions are going to be very easy. This is the new one. it seems like the spawn points are exactly the same. You're just fighting different enemies. Which, yeah, I imagine exactly what's going to happen here they're just going to take more hits and move a little bit faster. You might have to rely more on the dodging. You might have to simply just take it a little bit slower. You can definitely tell how the music is very iconic, or in that they just play it over and over again. I knocked one guy down but didn't kill him. I want to be just careful. But yeah, your reaction has to be very high. Very, very high on these. Like, I just am totally not used to having to lock onto somebody and immediately press the back on the right stick to dodge. Yeah. I do enjoy action games, but I definitely would not consider myself an expert at it or a professional in any way. Alright. Yeah, and these axe people, it does seem like if you're gonna run away from them and wait for them to attack you head on, you are gonna have to immediately dodge.
You're so lame.
Undoubtedly, you also have to really admit that this is a game really for edgelord teenagers, and I very much was an edgelord teenager when I first played this game, or maybe a little bit older, and now as a much older, perhaps slightly more mature person, the violence, the cussing, the sexualization of the French lady, femme fatale character, it just does not play as much in a second time. Plus, when you are pushing for what is shocking, the standards of what is shocking just kind of go up and up and up as time moves forward. I guess technically you might describe this game as exploitation media going to trying to be extreme, but I don't know if you really would buy into that idea fully.
What a pain! What a pain!
Who else do we have? And see, I took my hand off of the controller. Ah, that's ridiculous. I give up at that point. That is just completely unfair to throw a gun shooter into these missions. Suffice it to say, I am not happy with these free fight missions. They do seem like they will get easier as you upgrade your attacks and weapons and just upgrade your strength. But there are definitely some cheesy attacks that they're now throwing at you with the gun characters shooting at you. The only way you could avoid that is to be very, very quick on locking on to the character. So I'm trying to get to the motel, and I guess I overshot it. Wow, I didn't realize I overshot it that much. And the motorcycle definitely is not controlling anywhere as well as I'd like it to. Yeah, when you feel this level of slop just controlling the motorcycle, it's no surprise that the minesweeping minigame is somewhat difficult and the fighting mechanic is somewhat difficult. Right. Okay. To the bedroom, to the closet. So we have 5 sunglasses, we have 6 jackets, we have 1 through what should be about 29. Nope, it's 1 through 35 purchased. And then we have a gap between 39 and 59, or 35 and 59. And then we shouldn't have a gap at all after that point. But it is weird that they would stop at 99 and have a third digit. They start at 01, they stop at 099. Yeah, I don't think there's a single t-shirt left to collect in the open world. But what could have been in the open world certainly is they could have reset a lot of the trash cans to give me something else to do as far as like just collecting money, because I really am totally screwed at this point. There's nothing new in the drawer, and there's no new weapon to purchase. The map is basically either useless or the mission results can just be a great depiction of some of my failures as far as these free fight missions. I guess the one question to ask would be, do you get free fight missions marked on the map? And no, you don't get them marked until you actually finish them. So it is very possible that free fight mission 1 is done, but free fight mission 5 I never did. Like, I'm seeing there is one here I think that I haven't done. There's obviously one extra one here that I haven't done. And there's very possibly some more. So I would really just need to look online to see a map of those missions and compare it to the menu map.
There are no messages.
Yep. Let's see. TV. I think we have a new video to watch. We now have learned the Hurricane Nana. These are real wrestling moves. For whatever that really matters. Let's go ahead and save. Where are we as far as saving? Let's not overwrite the save. Yep. It definitely hasn't been 18 hours of gameplay, but you know, it probably has been 8. Like, and for the experience they're giving me, I would have gladly gotten rid of half of that time and just had a boss rush game. Right. So I need like 300,000. Yes, there is a free fight mission up there I haven't done. And possibly a free fight mission down there that I haven't done. And obviously there's a free fight mission here. And it does seem like these free fight missions reset, so what I'm gonna do off screen is just try to do the free fight missions, and when that fails, start to do assassination gigs again until I have the right amount of money. 350,000 LBs. What this is very possibly going to cause to happen is that you're also going to end up later on in the game just having a lot of extra money with nothing to spend on it. So arguably next time around I should just not buy any outfits. I'm wasting my own time by buying outfits when I should pay the entrance fee first at the very least and then go buy outfits. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good